Hello, my name's Alan Marty, founder of Noah Basketball. Everybody knows that three-point shooting attempts are skyrocketing. Everybody knows that here. But a lot of people don't know that for the last 20 years, three-point shooting percentage in the NBA and college has been completely flat. And even the very best shooters in each year have not improved, completely flat. This is a really core problem that is worth a lot of money to fix. Fans care about it, coaches care about it, owners care about it, broadcasts care about it, obviously athletes care about it. We have gotten 3 technical founders together to try to think about this product from the very core basis to figure out how we can solve this problem. We've already got thousands of users, including 3 of the top 5 teams in the Western Conference of the NBA, and including this guy. So recently, Steph did an interview at the TechCrunch conference, and the interview asked him if you could have any basketball technology you wanted at the snap of a finger, what would you wish for? And what Steph did was he described the Noah Basketball product that he'd been using the night before. Let's listen to Steph.
The stuff that we use around our facility and things that are kind of up and coming that help you understand your body, like you're talking about. For me, how to be more efficient as a shooter. So for me, last night I was in there for an hour and got a computer that shows me every shot I took. The arc it was, the optimal entry point into the rim and things like that. That would continue that trend, and just I'm all ears and eyes to new tech, and that can help me become a better basketball player.
So this is a really core problem. If it was easy, people would have fixed it before. Noah Basketball is rethinking shooting data and training from end to end. You can sort of think of us as the Uber. The way Uber thought about how to do taxi hailing from end to end, looking at every different component to make sure that you'd perfected them all. So we focus on 4 new innovations: sensors, shot analysis, instant feedback, and machine learning. All of these have been fully tested with millions of shots. Remember, this product's only 8 months old. And all of them are fully protected with 16 issued patents. We're going to go through each of these one by one. First of all, the sensing method. We put a sensor, all optical, a sensor 13 feet above the hoop. It allows us to automatically, collect this data. It's all optical sensing, nothing to wear, no player wearables, no special ball. Secondly, we focus on shot analysis. What is it that we can do that has never been done before? Well, for example, this player on the left, if you look here, he's actually I don't know if you can, he's actually, well, you probably can't see it. Anyway, he's a very good shooter. He's shooting 65% from three-point line in practice, but you can tell that he's shooting always to the left, right? If he was able to center what he was doing with this data that actually shows not only where he shot the ball from, but where it went through the hoop, and the angle he shot it, if he could center that, he would gain about 7 percentage points. So that's the kind of thing we can do for athletes. Then third, instant feedback. Once you know exactly what you need to improve as a shooter, it's not good enough. You actually need to know what you're going to do better. And so we started with Stanford, the neuroscience department, and what they taught us was that if you don't get feedback within a half a second, it's essentially worthless when it comes to fine motor skills. So we have, in practice sessions, the ability for Noah to talk to each shooter after the shot to tell them exactly what they did on that shot on the problem that they're trying to fix. So if arc consistency, which is very important to shot depth consistency, is variable for this player, it'll give you a 45 or a 43 or a 47, depending on, and you're trying to hear 45 every time. So I'm going to play a little clip here. This guy's trying to shoot for 45, and you'll hear the Noah number right after he shoots.
45.
So you get that instant feedback. So you're not just practicing for make-miss. You're actually practicing to improve the actual problem that you have. And then finally, machine learning. Because we gather all of the data, we're currently gathering about 100,000 shots a day. We expect to be up to 1 million shots a day very soon from all over the country, high school, college, and the pro level. That allows us to get amazing insights, not only on, for particular miss patterns, what you need to do to improve, but also how fast you should be able to improve and kind of what your asymptote's going to be. So this is really important for not only fans and kind of fan fun stuff, but it's also for recruiting and drafting and things like that. If you want to hear more about the machine learning technology, we actually were one of the winners in the technology paper competition. I encourage you to go over there and look at the poster, and you can talk. We had researchers from UC San Diego and CMU that put that paper together. So it's a complete solution, 4 different things. Because we have all of the data and aggregate it, we can learn and learn and learn, just like any good machine learning sort of an application. So we're continuing to refine and refine. We already have seen amazing results in the last 8 months, and we have an expectation that we will be the enabler that will allow us to break through this. Now, I know there's lots of, here's a LA facility where 12 shooters can shoot at once on the NOAA technique. So there's lots of questions. I'm a Silicon Valley guy about the business that I'm happy to answer right now. So let's go to questions. What's that? Revenue model is, first of all, subscription. So a high school team pays $100 a month, a college team pays $200 a month, a pro team pays $500 a month. As we add on additional modules for certain shooting and defense and rebound and whatever, then we'll continue to add on some of those pricing things. But there's also licensing models. You can imagine with APIs, there's lots of people who actually want to license this technology and link it with their video. We expect that this Shoot 360, this facility you saw in LA, we expect that there will be hundreds of those sites, and they do a revenue sharing with us because we essentially provide all of their technology. And then there's obvious things addition into kind of drafting and recruiting and all kinds of other possibilities, but those are our 2 core functions.
Can this get beyond just the shooting analysis and actually look at, passing and lines and all of this sort of stats and metrics?
Yes, it can. So, I mean, it's a really interesting question. Most people started with tracking because it was the easier thing to do. We actually started with a hoop because we actually thought it was the most fundamental thing that people hadn't tackled before. So we worked from the hoop out. So once you've got the hoop figured out, it's pretty easy for rebounding and for shooting, to identify the player, and then to identify for the player what kind of a shot they're taking. Is it a step back 3? Is it a catch and shoot, which are very, very different outcomes at the hoop. Very different and very different percentages. And then you can go from there to player tracking. So we're adding on all of those things.
How do you track the player? How do you know which player it is?
Well, right now, there's 2 things that we do. So in practice, you can basically say, I'm a player, and you can put in your name. In games right now, we have an application where once a shot goes up, it just pops up with your roster, and you touch who the person was. We expect within a couple of months that we'll have automated player ID. So any high school, college, or pro team will be able to see, no matter how many players on the court, who took every shot and see the pattern recognition for their misses for all of those players. Remember, this is not just a practice tool, this is a game tool. So once you've figured out what you're working on in practice and have that feedback, you go into the game. It's already NCAA approved. So high school, it's not in NBA courts yet, but in NCAA and high school courts, you're actually seeing the fruits of what you did in practice. And if you don't, you need to change your practice technique. So we're trying to completely close the loop and then use machine learning to completely aggregate all this data to get to a higher point.
So sorry for being in the weeds for just one more second, but how do you actually identify the player?
I can talk about this all day. It's fine. What's that?
How do you actually identify the player?
It'll eventually be partly body tracking. There's no wearables, and face tracking. Fortunately, when a player looks up at the hoop, you get a pretty good view of their face. So it'll be a combination of short sequence player tracking as well as face tracking. Yeah.
How big is the market if you're just focusing on basketball? And then are you just going to focus on basketball?
Yeah, a $1.2 billion market for basketball worldwide. And if you look at other sports, we're already in volleyball. Our biggest user was John Dunning at Stanford. He took 4 freshmen to the national championship and was the coach of the year. So that was a really nice success story. We already have patents in tennis, golf, football, and soccer. So the expectation is that this will be quite applicable to any sport where fine motor skills are important to success. But we're focused mostly on basketball right now. It's just a huge market. We're already talking with China about partnerships and the like. Okay?
Great. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
NOAA Basketball.